Alrighty, and we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to yet another video of my one takeaway. This one is from a day yesterday. Yeah. So today we are talking about confront the avoidance question and just do the work anyway. And that's the main takeaway that I am highlighting from even just a lot of the thoughts that I've had over the last couple of days from the weekend. I was privileged to have this kind of conversation with a business person who is a friend of mine, and he really influenced me in what he was saying. So I watched this video by Sam Altman, so we're going to watch it together. And
execution is the hard part of a business, right? Because these other things happen pretty quickly. And this is what takes up, if these other things take 6 months, this is what takes the next 9.5 years. It is the relentless waking up every day and just sort of banging your head against the wall until things work. And everyone thinks they can hire someone to do this. Founders always think, well, I'll hire a COO and he or she will manage the operations for the company. And I will get to go off and I'll just think about strategy and meet with investors and go to conferences and it'll be great. Obviously that fails 100% of the time. The value gets created over compounding execution for years and years and years. And it never gets easier, but this is what you're signing up for as a founder. Very little of the value gets created by the idea if you just think about the time frame. Most of the value gets created by this part. And so, people say that most of what being a founder is about is not being in love with creating a product, but being in love with creating a company. And I think there's a lot of truth in that. There's a big shift after those first 3 categories all start working, where you shift from the great idea and the great product to great execution. And this is a shift that a lot of founders fail to make.
right, and that's the shift that a lot of founders fail to make. Oh man, that this particular video just influenced me a lot, and I retweeted it or re-xed it now that it's called X, and said relentless execution. That's really it, man. You just want to wake up every day and execute. Wake up every single day and just execute. Just wake up every single day and execute. I've said that 3 times, and you will see why this emotion is important as I get into the kind of thing that I want to talk about right now. And so I have these 3 quotes from Stephen Pressfield that I went and pulled off from my what do you call the app Readwise, but I won't read it right now. Let me just read my conversation, and then I'll come back and talk about the quotes. And this is going to be a very therapeutic kind of thing that we get to do together in my one takeaway from this idea, and this idea that Sam Altman is saying, you just wake up every day and you execute. You wake up every day and you work harder. You wake up every day and you keep going at it. You know what? Let's just read the quotes. So the first quote by Stephen Pressfield, this is from the book Turning Pro. And let me just say, I love Stephen Pressfield's books because he talks about especially 2 ideas that I think are core to any type of individual who's trying to pursue an ideal, like be a writer, be a creative, be an artist. And he really talks about this idea of resistance and this also idea of avoidance. And I just remember Turning Pro being one of those books that kind of like trying to snap you out of this kind of nonsense, avoidance. Each day the professional understands he will wake up facing the same demons, the same resistance, the same self-sabotage, the same tendencies to shadow activities and amateurism that he has always faced. The difference is that now he will not yield to those temptations. Each day, this professional, whoever you are, you understand. It's like you are a warrior, that you will wake up and face the same demons. You will wake up and face resistance. You will wake up and face self-sabotage. All these tendencies, shadow activities, amateurism, it will always come to you, but you will not yield to those temptations. That's the difference between a professional and an amateur, because an amateur is going to like to kind of lean into this kind of temptations. And that's something to think about as we get into this topic of confront avoidance and just do the work, relentless execution every day. Here's the next quote from Stephen Pressfield's book Turning Pro. The professional knows that in the course of her pursuit, she will inevitably experience moments of terror, even panic. She knows she can't choke that panic back or wish it away. It's there and it's for real. The process chilly. Look at that. All these emotions, feeling like you want to puke, feeling like a weird thing in your tummy, in your stomach. The professional understands that she will just feel the panic. And this is also very good, and you'll see where this kind of these wise words are give solace to whatever we're going to talk about. To feel ambition and act upon it is to embrace the unique calling of our souls. To feel ambition and to act upon it is to embrace this unique calling of our souls. And I remember really loving this quote, especially this idea of living your own truth, accepting the ambition that is your own spirit. And I love that, because I actually do believe this idea that every single person has like this kind of unique calling, or that's how I would call it in Christian terms, or some people would say has this magic inside of them that they're supposed to bring into the world. And therefore, when you feel ambition and you act on it, you are embracing this calling. And I love that, and I believe that is true. So let's read this. So the reason why this quote struck deep for me this morning is because pretty much what Stephen Pressfield addresses in these works are the avoidance and giving in to resistance that most creative people do, never really getting around to paint or write or actually do something of significance to their calling. Avoidance, giving in to a resistance, what do you call it? Procrastination, and just not doing the work. This is what he addresses it. Background to this emotion, and this is going to be pretty huge. During the weekend, I had a conversation with an entrepreneur I respect, and we talked at length about business, myself, and how to make more money. He was particularly impressed by my skills and the effort that I had put into the work we did together, but he laid a thought that he thought I sold myself short and I did not work as hard as I should. Obviously, this struck a nerve because I'd like to think of myself as a hard worker. Now I wanted to find out more, so I asked him to elaborate and for him to show me what putting in the work looked like. Now he explained to me it looks like paying the price. Exact words he used. That I need to pay the price and just do the necessary hard work, especially if it's more money that I'm looking to make. After all, I had the skills that people would willingly pay for, therefore the not making enough money do not make sense to him. He said that if you are this talented and resourced, you then just need to put in the hours and slave hard for the money that you're trying to make. He challenged me to work more hours, sleep less, give less time to like home time, if that's what it meant, take bigger risks with my office here in the space, cut unnecessary expenses, and to work with a banker and improve my chances of getting a bigger credit facilities, and to keep iterating that model every day. His model is just work extra hard, bro. In many ways, I know exactly what he's talking about, since I've always been about paying the price ever since I started my freelance journey over a decade ago. Pause. The reason why I think this advice struck a nerve is because nobody has ever actually challenged me to work harder. Not in that general sense, but actually someone who believed in a killer hard work ethic and wanted to see the same ideal duplicated in someone else. So can you see that? Like, nobody has ever actually told me that, bro, just slave on this, like don't sleep for a year. I don't think nobody's ever given me that advice. Nobody, yeah. So that actually struck a nerve. Now he joked that once you enter this office, his office, be prepared for difficult conversations that actually move the needle and make one successful. So I mean, obviously, this when someone tells you, man, I think you're very talented, and the reason you're not making enough money, or the reason you're trying to make more money, or the reason you say you don't have extra for whatever you're trying to get into the next zone of your life, is that you're not working hard. And he's like, just man, work harder. Like, you can just like work harder. And I had a lot of reservations like a huge amount of reservations about this idea of putting in the work and working hard. And we're going to even just go back, like entangling the emotions that I felt during our conversations, the advice that he's given me, the Sam Altman advice and this book. So we're going to kind of make headway with that. And I'll be back to talk a little bit about that, because this kind of things has really got me fired up and got me kind of thinking about my next direction and how I want to handle this moving onwards. Okay. So let's talk about avoidance. While our conversation was broad and it touched on many aspects, I'd like to start today by addressing the avoidance question, because I indeed felt that I have been avoiding some things, especially things that seem hard. And I constantly feel like I should just raise the money and find someone else to do these things instead. You know? To contextualize, I run a media company where we do agency work. We do photography, video, design, digital, etc. And for the most part, I have been running it solo for the better part of the last decade. I only hire whenever I get bigger jobs and outsource. But for the price I charge, I have been doing it mostly solo. And also, just for full disclosure, I also have a job that I'm also doing. I can't say I'm doing on the side, because it's like I'm doing it full time. It's weird, yeah? Yeah, it's one of those things. Because of this, I believe that I am experienced in most aspects of the business, and I know exactly how much effort all these things do end up taking. Every single piece of media work, from a simple graphic design to video work, does indeed take up a bunch of effort. Even writing something for a client takes up effort. It is my familiarity with the effort it takes to do the work that makes me avoid bits and pieces of the work. Look at how I even phrase these words. Interesting that I had this insight. My familiarity with this effort, that like I'm aware that I'm going to dig this piece of land and it's going to take me 3 days to finish this piece of land. And because of my familiarity with how difficult it can take, I kind of start avoiding bits and pieces of the work, or I just like procrastinate and like just do everything it takes before just getting to the work. And it's interesting because way back in the day, when I wasn't familiar or did not have experience in this field of work, I would be very eager to get started with work, and I would fail along the way until I'm finished. But having done this for quite a while, I kind of am familiar with the effort it takes. And now it's like when I was starting, I was excited about the unknown of the creative work or whatever we're going to create, but now I'm shunned by the familiarity of like the effort it's going to take. And I'm kind of also trying in my work to untangle that wherever that is coming from, and to move onward. We just make progress. Now, whenever I get started and get into a new state of flow, it's all gravy, baby. But before that, I find myself in the past doing all sorts of avoidance and procrastination instead of just doing the work. It could be that this rings common for people who work in creative industries, or it could be that I am lazy and avoiding getting into unknown territories for a long time, yet I in fact know that at some point I will just do the work. Look at that, man. That I feel like I avoid getting into it. You remember how Sam Altman was saying in the advice video that some founders think that I should just hire a CEO, a chief of operations, and then he would run the show, and I would go for conferences, and I will do all this cool work that I want to do. I'll just do strategy and things and I think doing those things is very, very sexy, and I'm actually also, I know it's sexy, and I'm also very, very turned on toward those kind of work things. Strategy, just like teaching, doing workshops, man, doing meetings and stuff like that. It's very, very sexy, but that's not work. That's like the grease that makes the work happen. But the work is like the difficult thing of moving the ball forward on initiatives. And so, man, why do I avoid hard work? So after just talking to this entrepreneur friend of mine, I had really started thinking a lot about these ideas, and it was just in my head, and if really I'm supposed to even take action on the conversation that we had, and I'm supposed to embed and bring back more hard work in my life and my work. Why? Because I feel like I need to solve the problem. Just jumping into hard work isn't the thing, because I might just start avoiding it after a month of constant grind. So here are some of the couple of reasons I came up with why I think I avoid hard work. And yeah, number one is that the grass is greener on the other side, and this is a nagging emotion, i.e., there are easier businesses out there, and creative work is too much effort for too little pay, at least in my current market. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess this is a true thing, that I've just had this kind of nagging emotion that there's probably better businesses out there, that there's 100%, man, like businesses that do it better or require less effort and you make more money. Just like trade, like if you had a shop and you were just selling whatever, man, anything, pens, phones, computers, accessories, whatever. In my head, I see like that's a very easier way to make money than slaving, putting your blood, sweat, and tears into like a design or a creative work that a client might not appreciate, and then just getting also paid very little money out of, like, you slave with the design work for a whole day, bro, and then you're going to get paid peanuts. For me, those things, they just turn me off, man. And I'm hoping to work through those emotions. Number two is I have absolutely no direction. I'm coming up with direction as we work. Oh yeah. So this second emotion is, even when somebody calls you, right now, if someone asks for any type of work, say it's design work or it's a strategy, a social media, whatever, I felt like there's very little direction, or then very little templates or ways to get into this work, and it feels so ambiguous. It just feels so ambiguous that I don't have a structure of getting into. And I've thought about this many times. I've thought maybe I should just take time and create templates, and take time and create assets that I know look like a certain kind of industry that I'm serving, such that when I get work, I can talk about the kind of things that look like the kind of things that people are trying to get. And I know I have this skill of templatizing work, but most times I just feel like I have absolutely no direction. Number three, sometimes I feel out of depth and overwhelmed with the work that is supposed to happen. And this is especially when I feel like I don't have the necessary skills in the kind of work that I'm now getting. I often feel overwhelmed. I often feel out of depth, doing bigger jobs, comparing myself with the masters or people that I've been watching from the internet. They just kind of, my work not looking like their work type thing. Yeah, man. Yeah, nah. Okay, number four, the work takes too much time, and especially digital work and video work. It might just as well take up a whole day or two. This is my frustration I felt, especially with even video work. When I do video work for somebody, production, pre-production, and post-production, editing, it literally can take a whole day sitting in front of a computer, just making a bunch of micro decisions. And this concept of it taking too much time, again, for like number one, for too little pay, just makes me avoid that work. Like, I know it's going to be a stressful, it's like I convince myself that I'm editing it in my head before I sit down to actually do it, yet I know I actually need to sit down and finish it. Number five, I feel like I have too much cool skills and cool ideas that I want to do someday, because I'm always learning, because I'm always getting inspired, because I'm almost always around the internet and seeing cool things. I'm seeing things that I want to try one day. I'm saving things on my Pinterest. And so just this idea that I have so much that I want to give to the world, and not enough avenue to do it, or just maybe I want people to take my current work so I can go do that cool thing that I've seen on the internet. And so that nagging emotion is crazy. And the number six, plus I haven't finished work anyways. To cherry on top, to finish it all up, I actually haven't finished work anyways, man. um, I'm getting to start to feel a little bit better about this concept and idea of unfinished work, or because I'm reading this book called Making Work Visible, and they talk about the thieves of time, and one of the thieves of time is unfinished work. And I'm so happy that they talked about unfinished work and just made me realize, or the author articulated some things that I've always felt, and I was so happy to know that so many people have unfinished work. You see, especially when you're working in ambiguous environments and no one is maybe giving you praise, or no one is taking a look into the can of the projects that you have, and even for yourself you're not doing a good job of surfacing all this work that you have, you start accumulating a lot of unfinished work, and it kind of starts overwhelming you. It's like a beast that, like that Fantastic Beasts movie, where this guy has a whole animal kingdom inside his bag. Imagine, like, when you open your bag, you're going to see monsters and dinos and all this. So you don't want to open your bag because in my bag there's a bunch of things. So unfinished work is a crazy monster, I think, that makes me avoid the work sometimes. And I would love to explore this in like a blog post at some time, because I felt really amazing for uncovering these 6 things. It's like, whoa, yeah. And can I find solutions to this? So let's just move on, and then we'll go back and talk about that little part of this little part of working hard, and then we're going to finish it. So what will I do moving onwards? And I'm asking myself this because I was like, okay, fine, so I've uncovered all these things. I've thought about what I'm going to do with this information that I'm getting. What will I do moving onwards? And so I was telling myself, and Sam Altman is saying, this thing, you're not going to do it in 6 months. You're banging your head against a wall for 9 years, and then you're making progress on it. So I'm getting the sense from Mr. Altman that, man, it's actually, you have to do this. You have to just bang your head against the wall and make progress on this kind of things. Just keep doing it. Embrace kind of the abstractness and the pain of the work, and just keep doing it and keep showing up, and then somehow you're going to make it. You're going to make it work, right? So number 1, I will absolutely embrace the pain, the abstract nature of an everyday work, and I will extremely work hard to bring my work into reality, right? So I think this is the first time in my life that I'm telling myself that, okay, I'm okay with the pain. I'm okay with the pain. And this guy told me, this entrepreneur that I respect, he said to me that you have to accept this kind of pain that it takes to do anything. It's just, he was telling me that sometimes he has a headache and he's going through a lot, and he was telling me that he knows this headache he's having, it's just because he's having a hard day. It's just because he's dealing with a lot of things. The dissonance in his head is giving him a headache. He knows he's not unwell. He knows he's not sick. But he has accepted that because of all these things coming at him at like this breakneck speed, it's going to be painful. And so he'll just take the pain. And this is powerful for me, especially this concept of embracing pain and just taking it as a man, no matter what, is something that I think is going to be very beneficial for me. I'd be keen to maybe watch this few months from now to see where I'm at with that. But also the abstract nature of an everyday work, and work feeling like how my wife says household work feels like. The day will end before you finish the work. Like today has ended. It's not like work is finished. No. Like today is over. All right. Now, number 2, I will take on more work and not expect things that will somehow get easier. I'll just keep working until I see some progress or I get confirmation that this no longer works. And because of like whatever I've described, I've been saying no to a lot of work too. I've been saying no a lot, and I know there's power to no, but my body was challenging me that instead of saying no, what would happen if you said yes more? what would happen if you still went back to filling your well with more kind of work, and then find a way to make all that work happen instead of saying that that work fills your plate. It's like, fine, this work is coming, this work is going to fill your plate. You say yes to more work, but then you also make plans on how all this work that is now in your plate is going to get sorted. Because in the past, and I said, I really thought hard about especially this concept. I was like, if I were to get creative, I could indeed just keep taking more work and find even other ways to keep doing this work. I could hire virtual assistants, I could hire people to help me with bits and pieces of this work that I don't want to do myself, and then I could deliver on the kind of work that I need, or just like I could decide that all the work that gets on our plate gets out successfully, right? Instead of saying, because I know I'm the one who's supposed to do all this work anyway, edit 10 videos, edit 25 reels, do the social media strategy, do all these kind of things that I think is supposed to be done in the work. Because it's me, I'm not going to do it. Just accept it, but then I'll change the thing in your head that help makes that work make sure that work gets done, right? And even this is the reason why it was evening and I was like, I need to go home, but hey, I promised myself I'm going to be doing these videos. Why don't I just make sure I finish this one out and then I can go do other things, right? And so number four is I will publish more and put myself in a space where I'm constantly executing. I'll just publish more and just keep putting myself in a place where I'm executing. And the reason why this again is profound to me is a habit change or an identity change that has happened in my head. Is again this entrepreneur that I respect. I was talking to him about his identity, and he identifies as an entrepreneur and someone who is solving problems and someone who's making money. So every day he wakes up, he's doing business. Every single day he wakes up, he's doing business. I found that so profound and a very different way of thinking, because for him it's like, man, I'll be doing this. When I wake up, I'll be doing this. When I read the paper, this is what I'll be doing. I'll be finding more information. When I go meet people, I'll be connecting, I'll be doing networking, I'll be finding more opportunities for business, I will be finding more opportunity for myself, I'll be putting every single item on his to-do list is on his day. As a matter of fact, he's progressing his business agenda in life. And so again, this is what Sam Altman is saying. This is what you do, just banging your head against the wall for 9 years until it happens. I don't know. Do you know? Does anybody know? We just publish more and put yourself in a space where you execute. You execute yesterday, you execute today, you execute tomorrow. I'll be executing on the other day, I'll be executing on the next day, and then if this doesn't work, I'll be executing on the next thing. But it's a constant grind, and I found that to be very, 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 very profound. And then finally, I will fire myself up and get myself unstuck whenever I find myself like in that season. I have found the benefit of being your own cheerleader and firing yourself up and getting yourself unstuck, because you're always going to get stuck, especially in this ambiguous situation where you're working for people who don't appreciate, you're building businesses that is service-based businesses that the retail market doesn't appreciate. Man, you're going to you need to find a way to get yourself unstuck. And this goes back to that quote by Stephen Pressfield, that the professional knows that in the course of her pursuit, she will inevitably experience moments of terror, even panic. She knows she can't choke that panic back or wish it away. It's there and it's for real. Man, the world is for meatballs, raining meatballs, and there's nothing you can do. You just accept that this is going to be this is indeed a part of the process. And so I think a way to avoid avoidance is to accept responsibility. And it's funny how a lot of business lessons is about accepting responsibility and just accepting more pain. And I find that strange, very, very strange. Every day you will wake up and you'll face the same demons, Same resistance, the same self-sabotage, the same tendencies to shadow activities and amateurism that you've always felt. The difference is that now you will not yield to those temptations. So you're making an identity change in the way you wake up, in the way you show up. For me, I have found, especially everything that I talked with this entrepreneur, among all the ideas that we chopped up, this really triggered me, man. This one idea that maybe you just need to work harder really triggered me, because I guess low key I've always known, and I've always felt like, man, just what if I just put in the time, you know. And I know this because I've done this before. I have done this before. I have worked way too hard, and I've gotten way too much work that I stopped delivering. Like, you know, I just have too much work that I can't progress on all of those. But instead of me getting smarter in the way I deliver my work, I just started saying no to that work. And my this entrepreneur friend of mine says, and that made me fall off. There are very dark things that I started kind of uncovering, or like shadow activities I started uncovering, because if it's like, you know, shadow activities are the way they look like is you have accepted these things. You know, you've somehow accepted these things. Like saying no to them is actually accepting those things, right? And so I found that when I say I'm a hardworking person, but only say yes to one job, am I really hardworking? A shadow part of me really isn't. And so, man, oof, that's my one takeaway from today's thing. Today's talk was very in sync with something that I've been thinking about, and it's just and I'm happy to put that one out there. And I'm also happy to make progress on life and business and entrepreneurship and everything that comes with this package. Thank you so much for watching my one takeaway, man. If you enjoy these videos, let me know down in the comments if you find this any valuable. So see ya.